This time, we will look at the average egogram of people with high SC. Here, a high SC score means that the person's SC score is within the top 10% among all test participants. The total number of participants is 8,255. Among them, 1,066 people are in this group, and the ratio is 12.9%. The standard is the top 10% in SC. When we look at the average scores of their 6 ego states, CP is 36.1, NP is 33.9, A is 33.6, FC is 35.4, AC is 34.7, and SC is 39.8. Compared with the overall average, SC is 9.8 points higher than the overall average of 30.0. So the first thing that stands out in this table is, of course, SC. This group has a force that tries to set its own direction and specialness rather than being buried in the ordinary. That force stands very far at the front. However, these are not people who have only SC at a high level. CP, A, and FC are also higher than the overall average. In contrast, NP and AC are almost the same as the overall average. Because of this structure can be seen in this way. It is a structure where SC first sets personal direction and specialness, and CP, A, and FC support that specialness with standards, strategy, and expression. However, because NP and AC are close to the average level, the effect of warmly cushioning the relationship or adjusting to the other person may be relatively limited. When we look at people with high SC, the first point to remember is this. These are people who want to set their own specialness rather than being buried in the ordinary. SC is the force that takes care of personal direction, personal color, being oneself, specialness, and moving away from the existing flow inside the mind. So when SC is high, these questions are likely to come up first when the person looks at a scene. How do I want to do this? Is this really like me? I do not want to be buried in the ordinary. I want to try it in my own way. Even if others say it cannot be done, could I make another path? These people are not simply people who want to stand out. More accurately, they are closer to people who do not want to lose the feeling of being alive in their own way. Because of this, they may not easily step back in front of a blocked path. If the way set by others does not fit, they may try to find another path. Even after being stopped once, they may want to try again. What matters in this structure is that the scores of the other 5 ego states are placed relatively similarly. Therefore, depending on the situation, CP, NP, A, FC, and AC may appear by turns. However, the effect of each ego state is different when it appears. CP is 36.1, which is higher than the overall average. So when CP appears, standards and driving force are added to the specialness of SC. I will do it in my way, but I will do it properly. Even if others say it cannot be done, I will push forward with this standard. This is the direction I see as right. This kind of flow may appear. A is also 33.6, which is higher than the overall average. Because of this, specialness does not end only as an emotional response, but can be designed with strategy and logic. How can I make this path realistic? I can explain why this method is needed. It is different from others, but this direction has its own structure. In this way, the person can organize personal direction. FC is also 35.4, which is higher than the overall average. Because of this, personal color and specialness are likely to appear outside rather than stay only inside. In tone of voice, clothing, taste, ideas, and expression style, a feeling of that is just like that person can appear. The person not only holds personal direction inside, but also has the force to actually show and express it. In contrast, NP and AC are almost the same as the overall average. It is not that NP is absent. However, inside this group, NP is not the central force that leads the scene. Because of this, the basic flow of these people is closer to I want to go in this direction than to I should take care of the other person first. It is not that there is no consideration at all. But when personal direction stands strongly at the front, the emotional temperature that the other person wants may not be delivered enough. It is also not that AC is absent. However, it is difficult to see it as a strong force for adjusting and complying. The person can see the situation to some degree. But when personal direction rises strongly, maintaining the person's own flow may come before adjusting to the other person. In other words, this group can use the ego states needed to push personal direction forward relatively effectively. CP adds standards and driving force. A adds strategy, and FC adds expression. However, the force that warmly cushions the relationship or softly adjusts to the other person may appear relatively weak. Because of this, people around this person may feel this way. Their personal color is clear. The direction they want to go is clear. They try again even when blocked. They have ideas and presence. But because their own flow is strong, it is not always easy to adjust together. Here, the most important point is the directionality of SC. When we look at a person with high SC, the core question is not, how special are they? The more important question is this: where is that specialness heading? When this energy flows in a positive direction, it becomes a very great force. It can become the force that breaks through adversity, hardship, suffering, and difficulty. The person can try again where others have given up. The person can break through problems that do not resolve through existing methods with innovative ideas. The person can make a new path in a situation that looks impossible. At this time, SC functions like the narrative of a biography of a great person. Because the person did not follow the ordinary path, they can instead make a new path. However, when this energy flows in a negative direction, it can become dangerous. It can appear as rebellion that rejects the basic lines of law, ethics, morality, and community. I am an exception. I am different from others. My way is outside general standards. Different rules apply to me. If the flow goes in this direction, specialness can become deviation rather than pioneering. In an extreme case, it may also lead to a dangerous choice serious enough to receive social punishment. So what matters for a person with high SC is not to reduce specialness. Specialness is a great resource. It is the force that makes new paths, breaks through blocked places, and holds again the problems that others have given up. However, the person needs to check what that specialness is heading toward. What am I resisting right now? Does my specialness solve a problem or ignore standards? Is this direction connected to the community, or does it make only me an exception? Am I making a new path, or am I only rebelling? When these questions enter, SC becomes a firmer force. To summarize, people with high SC are not simply stubborn people. They are people who strongly try to set personal direction and specialness. And when CP, A, and FC operate together, that specialness gains standards, strategy, and expression. However, because NP and AC are close to the average level, the force that softly cushions the relationship or adjusts to the other person may appear limited. So when we understand these people, it is better to look at them this way. We should look not at how much they stand out, but at where that specialness is heading. A person with high SC may show the energy of personal direction and personal color, not only in words, but also in the body. However, non-verbal expressions are not a judgment table. We cannot look at one body gesture and say, this person has high SC. Non-verbal expressions are only reference material. When facial expression, posture, gaze, tone of voice, and distance repeatedly show the same direction, we can carefully estimate which ego state is standing at the front inside that person. A flow that can often be seen in a person with high SC is a direction that does not fold easily and tries to maintain one's own center. There may be a personal rhythm in the posture. Rather than immediately adjusting to a flow led by others, the person may seem to maintain their own posture or speed. even when sitting or standing rather than becoming blurred by adjusting to others. The person may show movement that tries to secure their own place. The facial expression and gaze may also have characteristics. Rather than the facial expression shaking richly, it may seem to maintain the person's own texture. The gaze may appear closer to holding steady than avoiding. Even while looking at the other person's response, the person may give the feeling that they are not easily pressed down or folded. Because of this, to some people it may look like confidence, and to others it may look like strong stubbornness. The movements of the hands and arms may also be connected to self-assertion. At needed moments, hand gestures may come out clearly. Rather than simple explanation, a force of "this is the point I want to push forward" may be carried. Rather than moving excessively, gestures that set direction at decisive moments may appear. Personal direction may also appear in the tone of voice. "I see it this way. Still, I think this direction is right. Could we try it in a different way? I do not want to give up this part." These expressions may appear. Even when the other person blocks them, they may try to set their words once more rather than fold immediately. Because of this, the conversation may sometimes flow toward breakthrough rather than tuning. The way they use space is also worth noticing. These people are not necessarily people who try to stand at the center. Rather, they may be people who try to secure a place where their personal presence is not erased. They may prefer a position where their personal influence remains alive, rather than a position where they are pulled around by someone else. However, these non-verbal expressions should not be concluded one by one. A strong gaze may be because of tension. A firm posture may be a habit. Clear speech may be the result of training. So we must always look at whether several signals repeat together, and also at the context of the current scene. To summarize, the non-verbal expressions of SC should not be read simply as performance or bluff. They are closer to the direction of the body that does not easily fold personal direction and tries to maintain it. The person may feel that they simply acted like themselves. However, people around them may receive it as stubborn, strongly intentional, or self-centered. The issue is not whether presence exists or does not exist. It is important to see whether that presence is being used in a direction that breaks through life, or whether it is moving toward making walls by colliding with others. So a helpful question for a person with high SC is this: am I making a new path right now, or am I making only myself an exception? Now for comparison, let's also look at the average of people with low SC. Here, a low SC score means that the person's SC score is within the bottom 10% among all test participants. The total number of participants is 8,255. The number in this group is 940, and the ratio is 11.4%. The standard is the bottom 10% in SC. When we look at the average scores of their 6 ego states, CP is 27.9, NP is 34.1, A is 27.4, FC is 27.7, AC is 34.3, and SC is 21.0. Compared with the overall average, SC is 9.0 points lower than the overall average of 30.0. This group is a group of people with low SC. However, looking only at low SC is not enough. What actually remains at the front in this group is NP and AC. NP is 34.1, almost the same as the overall average. AC is also 34.3, the same as the overall average. In contrast, CP, A, and FC are all lower than the average. SC is very low. Because of this, it is better to read the structure in this way. It is a structure where N, P, and AC take care of maintaining relationships and adjustment in the place where personal direction and personal color have become weak. These people may move toward maintaining relationships softly rather than strongly showing personal presence. How can I keep the relationship from becoming uncomfortable? May come up before, how can I stand out? It may be better to adjust so the other person is not uncomfortable. May come up before, I want to go in this way. Because of this, people around them may see this person as easygoing, soft, and good. They may feel like someone who does not stand out, does not collide strongly, and does not harm the relationship. However, this structure also has difficulty. The relationship is maintained, but inside that relationship, the person themselves may become faint. Personal needs may not show clearly. It may take time to speak personal taste. The question, what do I want, may come up late. Even when there is something the person wants to do, they may step back by saying, why me? Also, because CP is low, the force that sets standards may also be weak. Because A is low, the force that structures personal judgment may also be weak. Because FC is low, the force that expresses emotion and needs may also be weak. Because of this person may have a weak personal color and personal standards, personal judgment, and personal expression may also be pushed behind together. Outside, the person may look stable and soft. However, inside, personal presence may become blurred. What do I like? Where do I want to go? What do I want? Am I only adjusting? These questions may become necessary. The tuning point in this structure is not to suddenly become someone who stands out. It is to practice speaking small personal choices. I prefer this side. I want to try this today. This way is a little more comfortable for me. This time, I will say one opinion of mine. I want to do this. And that is a little difficult for me. These sentences are not strong self-assertion. They are small signs that make personal presence a little clearer. To summarize, people with low SC are not people without personal color. However, because the force that places personal direction at the front is weak, NP and AC may move first inside relationships. Because of this, outside, they may look easygoing and soft, but inside themselves, what do I want, may become faint. The core point is not there is no presence. It is that maintaining relationships remains before personal color